Good afternoon. Thank you for taking time to come to Flower Power in half an hour. I'm so pleased. Nothing gives me more fun than sharing ideas with you and hopefully things you can use. So we're going ripping through today. It's a Thanksgiving program. We are giving thanks and receiving thanks for all the things we have to work with, all the people we get to share with, and the blessings of Cedar Field. So, number one today, I thought I would show you something that's quick and easy to do and very versatile for your holiday table. So, I've got some rosemary here for remembrance. I don't know whether you know that's the symbol of remembrance, but let's stick a little in, because if nothing else, it will smell good. Now, you remember, I'm sure if you've watched this before, that I have three things I always repeat. Stand up straight if you can to work on something, or sit down so your back is comfortable. It's no fun looking down and hurting. It's no fun having your arrangement be perfect from the top and not looking like anything from the side. So those are two. I use a turntable because then I don't have to work real hard. I can just look around and see it all over the place. And I use very, very sharp snips, floral snips, these bone hands as well as flowers. So I'm very careful with them, but they're wonderfully helpful. Okay, I'm getting the bones of this arrangement done first. And that means I'm setting how big it's going to be when it's finished. I want to start knowing about where I'm going. So I've got a lovely little, some kind of a bush here. It's so much boxwood. And the thing that's so nice about it is it's good and full. So just like that, I've got a circle right here. So I know that I'm going from here to here in some kind of form. We'll find out what. People say, do you know what you're making? No, I don't know. We're all going to be surprised and pleased, I'm sure. So that's where we're going with this. Now, in setting this green line, there are two theories of flower arranging. One is you put the flowers in first, and then you fill in the greens. And the reason I'm not really excited about that, and I've done it plenty of times just to make sure I didn't really want to do that, because I forgot to put the greens in first or something, but I found that once I've got the flowers in, it's really hard to get down to the base of the arrangement and put in the greens. And when you put your hand down through and you hear a snap, crackle, or pop, it's very unsettling. And the arrangement usually doesn't look as good for it. So I am just filling in right now. So I'll have a good center space. I call this my real estate right here. And I want to make sure there's enough real estate to work on that. Okay, I want to expand this top, and I've got some pretty eucalyptus. Right now, eucalyptus is very much in vogue. And I find it in a lot of stores, and there are about 5 different kinds of it. This is called baby eucalyptus because the leaves are so tiny on it. But you can get weeping eucalyptus, like weeping willow, and it's eucalyptus. And you can get the big boy kind with the great big fat leaves on it. That's a pretty one too, a little different one. You can get silver dollar, which looks like silver dollars in gray. And the other one that's popular is a seeded euc. It has these clusters of almost like grapes, tiny grapes. And they are so much fun because they hang over an arrangement beautifully. And also with an emphasis on natural things, particularly right now, they're really pretty. Okay, some form there. Let's switch to some flowers, and I'll probably come back to greens again. This is one of my biggest flowers, the biggest one in this arrangement. And I happen to be a real fan of hydrangea. I know a lot of people are afraid of them because when they collapse, they dramatically collapse and they make you feel like a bad mother if you've been taking care of it. But if you will pull it out and recut it just a small amount, then it will perk right back up. So in most cases, I have kept it on my counter for 7 weeks, one piece of hydrangea. So that's kind of compelling for me. I love something that lasts real well. Okay, I'm going to work with a couple of other big flowers in here and just start to give them a little focal appearance. I've got some baby sunflowers because I'm envisioning this as being on perhaps a coffee table or a small dining room table, perhaps a kitchen counter, something like that. So we don't want it to be huge, but we want it to be real interesting. I just have a little bit of this Austin area, so I think I'm going to cut it apart and use it individually in here to give it a bigger presence. And I can put some over here and then turn around. I've got 2 more pieces of it, which is just really nice. So rather than one piece being used, it's all over the place. Some lovely little tan orangey mums, which are very, very available right now. And you can find pretty much everything I'm using. Trader Joe's, Kroger's, just about anywhere right now with the fall flowers. They're just so easy to use, and so many long-lasting things are out there, which really makes it a treat. Because when you work on an arrangement and it lasts for a while, it makes it even better. I am cutting a lot of these guys apart, but I want you to notice one principle in here, because it's the most critical one of anything you do. Every single flower has appeared to come from a center spot called the root ball. Think of a tree, think of a bush, they all have a ball at the bottom. Think of a bulb, it has a ball. So this has a ball in the center, in my imagination, and every stem appears to go there. Now, it certainly doesn't go all the way in because it would ruin the arrangement. There'd be no room for the flowers, the other flowers. But it appears to do it. And reality appearance makes a big difference. So that's what this does. So it allows me to keep going with this. Now, I think I'll say that for a minute. Ooh, it's one of my favorites. Everything's my favorite. Okay, and I've got some really pretty yellow button mums right here. And these guys really do look like the buttons on somebody's front. Some officer somewhere wore these gold buttons at one time, I'll bet you. Or one's just like them. Okay, let's see where this is going to go. Now, once I've got the shape of my arrangement, it's mainly just filling it in and making sure that there are enough flowers to carry the colors around and whatever I want to do in terms of arranging them. And that's really fun. But as long as I hold to my main lines, it's all going to come together. And that's a real comforting thing to know for me and for you too, I hope. All right, I've sprinkled these guys through. They're just all over the place. Let's add a few more of these. Got a few spots in here. Sometimes it seems like most of the arranging is just done in the cutting. And I remember doing a big project one time. It was a whole series of, it was 25 little miniature faux Christmas trees done out of boxwood. And they were about this tall, and they were conical shaped, and they had berries in them. And they were for a downtown convention in Washington. Sounded like a fine project, the first one I made, just to check and see how it would do. And then I realized that cutting the boxwood must have had at least 50 small pieces of boxwood, and that's probably conservative, in each one of these little trees. And they were wonderful, they're great trees. But I realized partway through the day they had to be done for the next day. I was going to have boxwood fatigue real fast. So I called a dear, dear, dear older friend. I said, any way you'd like to come and help? Would you enjoy this project? She loved boxwood, I knew that. And she said, sure, I'll come on over. And we're sitting in my garage doing hunting up trees. And I said, well, don't you want to do a tree? And she said, not on your life, but I'll sit here and cut boxwood for you. And I thought that was one of the nicest gifts. The trees were enormously successful. People absolutely loved them, took them home, reported back that they'd lasted so well, and I was thrilled. But I tell you what, I thought about the value of those trees next time before volunteering to do them. Okay. We have a little Queen Anne's lace. Ooh, do I love that. Doesn't this look like your lacy tablecloth or your napkins or something? And you stick it in and it just looks beautiful. It's hard to get right now, but in some of these small arrangements, they're giving you some boxwood, and that is really nice. Now, I'm sure these have a proper name. I call them orange thistles. Wonder why. I'm going to use a little of this just for a pop color in here and a little touch of green. There's not much, but everything you add with a different texture brings something to your arrangement. So if you're out walking and picking and thinking of an arrangement, then think about getting something different. This is a billy ball. Doesn't this look just like a bee antenna? I love these. They're so much fun. We have one little billy ball, which is going to go right up there. Okay, now, here's the next thing with this arrangement. Oh, wait a minute, let's stick a little teeny bit of this in here, not much. This is called solidago. You probably know it as its common name. I hate to tell you this, but it's called goldenrod. The thing is, goldenrod gets a really bad rap. It does not cause your problems. It is its friend, ragweed, that causes the problems. And goldenrod just looks pretty, but I was kind of concerned about it when I first started using it in arrangements, thinking, oh my gosh, somebody's going to have a major allergy attack, and it's going to be my fault at the dinner party. But it is not the one that does it. So it's really fun to use, and it fills in a lot of holes. Okay, this is your table centerpiece. You're going to add a little water to it. You're going to put your finger in the bottom and pour from the top, so you don't create a waterfall. And you can put that on your table, or you can do several other things, depending on which table you're using. You can take it and put a cup underneath. You can take it and put a goblet underneath, or a tall glass, and just raise it up. But if you really need it to stand out somewhere, take something bigger and just go up. And you've got all these different looks in it. You've got all this versatility in it. If you were really excited about adding a bit of drama to it, and you had it, you could take and drop something like that around the bottom. And then you've expanded this ball gown down further. So take your pick of how to use this. But in one arrangement, you've got 4 different looks. I like wardrobe things that do that, don't you? Take the outfit with you and you can change it all these different ways. But that's one idea for your holiday doing. So I'll put that one over here. Oh, wait a minute. Let's jazz it up just a teeny bit more. Let's make it be appealing to the senses as well as to the eye. Let's poke a couple of lemons in here. Now, if you do this the day of an event, you're going to get a real aroma with this. Not only does it have texture, and it makes it look really fresh, it is really fresh, but you can smell it. So right now you've got some rosemary in here, and you've got some lemon too. And that just adds another aspect to this. Appealing to all the senses if we can. Rosemary, some fragrance here, and some fresh lemon. So if you have the lemon curd for dessert, you've got something that hints to it later on. Okay, that's number 1. All right, let's see. All right, this is a teeny tiny one, and I thought you just might like to see this. Maybe you should still have sherry glasses around. These little teeny guys, I put a small piece of Oasis in here and taped it. Let me show you what we can do with that real fast. Now, what I like to do with these is use them as place markers at a dinner party or at a luncheon. A thing of the past, right? It'll come back. Save this for when it comes back. And I like to just make something that if I have goblets I'm getting rid of, I'll send these home with the guest. And say, take this home and just enjoy it for a few days. I have one more of my rosemary here, because we certainly want the guests to remember this day like that. And let's see what else we have. Just some tiny little things. The beauty of this is it takes practically nothing to make in terms of materials. It's all stuff, if you go to the grocery store and get a bunch of flowers, and they have some little blossoms, you can make whatever else you were planning to, and still have enough for some of these. We make that centerpiece, and come back again. Let's see where they are. This is some kind of a dianthus I'm using now. It's like a miniature carnation. Dianthus is in the carnation family. And it's a teeny blossom, and the beauty of it is that in something small, it looks large. A few of these cute buttons over here. And then let's take a little bit of, these are called hypericum berries. They come in green and pink and peach and white, and they last really well, and there's something just to give you a texture. Now I have to be really careful with this teeny container because it is teeny. I'd like to use a callus, but I think it's too big. And when it's supposed to be teeny, you really want it to stay that way, so it's pretty in there. Okay, you're seeing the same kind of thing. I'm going around in a circle because the vase lends to that, and it takes almost nothing to do this. A little teeny bit more, hold on. I see a spot. They tell you your flower arrangement is done when you run out of flowers, run out of time, or the guests arrive. Otherwise, it's really easy to keep second-guessing yourself and saying, I'll just put 3 or 4 more blossoms in that. I'm of the school that I like to think that the butterflies can fly through my arrangement without hurting their wings. And so if I keep it light and airy, they can do that. Now, how would you like to come to a party and have that waiting for you? Isn't that fun? Oh, such a good time. Okay, so we've got variations on a theme over here. Let's see what else we have in here. Okay, let the Thanksgiving party begin. I'm going to change to a lower, well, no, I think let me take a lower crop right here so you can see better. Okay. This thing is meant to be, I think, a tray. A lot of line right here. Hold on, let's see if we can get rid of that. Just meant to be a serviette tray. But I thought, couldn't it be more? So I put some moss in here. This is actually dried moss that you spritz, and it comes back to life. And when you get a chance to be close to this, feel it. It's very soft, and actually a little more time, it'll actually come in and put some more fronds out. But it gives me a place for my cabbage right here. Now I would like to put something in the cabbage, so I have 2 choices. If I would like to eat the cabbage later, I can put my little flower arrangement in a plastic bag with some water, put a rubber band on it, and stick it down in there. If I'm not going to eat the cabbage, I can do it this way. First of all, I've got to make sure that I'm not too tall for my area, so I'm going to try a blossom there. Now let's try a second one. How about a third one? Okay, we've got a core here. Let's take a little bit of that alstroemeria. Now this is called hand-tied. Good old Martha Stewart originated this, kind of. Used to be we had those appliances which we used for weddings. You carried a plastic thing and it tumbled down with flowers and so on. And then Martha Stewart kind of shook up things, and she started doing handheld, and then tying them and handing them to the bride, putting a pretty bow on it or something like that. And it became a much simpler way of doing. And it's revolutionized a lot of arrangements. And here, let's see, I had some pretty leaves growing at home, and I'm going to try to use those. I really like those leaves. Let's see if this, I'll put that yellow in there. It's kind of necessary to talk to yourself sometimes when you're doing flowers. The only problem is if you answer in a different voice, everybody gets concerned, so just watch for that. Let's see. All right, a little more green around this perhaps. Now, let's see, I want them all cut down here. They're going to go, and I'm going to take these and tie them with a rubber band. I could use tape, I could use 10 different things. But if I do it with this, it goes really well. Then I'm going to fill this up with water. Stick it happily in my cabbage. Cut it a little bit more because I don't like the height of it. Like so. Let's see. Probably use a little more green at the bottom. We got some Pachysandra from somebody's yard. Thank you, whoever it was. And a little Cuba that can go in there too. And I'm going to take a little bit of a stalk put it in just to hold it a little bit better. There we go. Okay. Now that's not quite enough. Let's see what else we can do to this. I just love visiting the veggie department. See what they've got. Oh, come on, Dave. You're supposed to stand up straight coming to the party. Everybody likes to come to the party. Let's get you up. See, I talk to them too. Okay, there we go. Now, let's see what else we've got. I've got some pretty asparagus, which will give my dining room table a hint of fun. And I've got some very nice mushrooms. You know how hard it is to find white mushrooms? Oops. Dropped a little too high here. There we go. To get these white mushrooms, I have to do a little scraping and turning and so on. But they certainly are going to look pretty as a precursor to dinner. I think I should have had the turntable underneath here. Let's see if that worked. Oh my goodness. Who'd have thought? There we go, nice and steady. Okay, a few green beans would be pretty in here, I'll bet. And these are red peppers that have been strung together with a little teeny bit of wire. And they just add a bit of color somewhere. Maybe right there. Also, if I'm doing a great big arrangement, I will pick these into the big arrangement and let them hang like grapes in there. Just another way of doing it. Another way of adding color in there. So, this would be a dining room table arrangement for Thanksgiving. And everybody's happy and it's good things you can eat later. So, that's a fun one. Okay, over here. Now here's one when the time comes back when we can have grandchildren around. Wouldn't that be nice? So this is one that's been very, very popular at our house. I start with 3 peppers. Actually, I start with a gaggle of grandchildren and a few older guests who say, if you need more help, I'll be glad to help too. So I generally plan on having a lot of containers, either pumpkins or peppers or something that you can cut open and make a vase out of. So starting with something like this, again, I'd use the moss in there just to give it a soft feel. You could use pebbles, that would be very pretty too. This also has a liner underneath. These should not leak at all. I have no concerns about them. And again, if I were going to eat them, I would put them in plastic bags. Let's see, you are 4. Okay, this is just a collection of flowers. I could take these all apart and redo them. I've kind of just stuck them in there to give some ideas. We've got a little green hydrangea. We've got one pretty rose in here, and so on. And let's see how it's going to do. With the children at our Thanksgiving table, we were generally having 25 or so people, and a number of all ages, as young as 2. Well, let me tell you, the 2-year-old, the older ones were doing it, wanted to do it too. And with flowers, in that case, I would take a bit of Oasis and put it down in here, and then they could all poke, and I'd have a pile of green and a pile of flowers, and I'd say, Nancy, do you need any more? I need that one. And the little ones all the way up to the younger teens who would look at it like, I am here to help the children, and would be just as interested as anybody else. So, I'm going to get this, I'm going to put this down right here so it doesn't shake. Now, let's see, there's one. Let's see, let's do something for the arm. I think we'll do the yellow one first. Okay, with the yellow, I have a collection of those neat thistly things again. I have a couple of calla lilies. Have a little bit of the solidaga that go in here. Look at this. This is the poet's laurel that grows around here. And this year's been a banner year. And it has these really pretty little orange berries on it. So that makes it even more fun to work with. I've got some chrysanthemums here. Just kind of a ragtag mix of stuff. that all looks pretty when you put it together. And that's one thing I like so much about doing these little guys, is that you can't make a mistake with it. It's going to be pretty, regardless of what you do. So, and you, I'm going to rubber band. I trust you. Stand up straight. I turn off my phone, but I don't really know how. I need a grandchild. Seriously. Any of y'all work stuff without grandchildren? Okay. So this one is going to go in the yellow one. Now the thing was, when I've done this with children, and I'll say to them, okay, I have a responsibility. Everybody helps at this house. So your responsibility is the Thanksgiving decorations. So you go and make whatever you want to out of the flowers, and then you put them around the house. And you figure out where we're supposed to decorate. You've got negotiations going on, and one would appear in a bedroom, and I don't know why, but they thought that was a really good idea. And they jostle for places at the table. Well, where do I get to put mine? I don't know yet. Work that out, let me know. And they would be so pleased. And the end of the afternoon would come, and I'd make sure there were containers they could take home, because everyone wanted to take their creation home, which I thought was really special. And I love the fact that we can have investments in a family gathering, and that we can engage people and let them know that their work is really important to the good of the whole. And that's what happened. Okay, this is a little yellow thing to go in the orange. And these are just essentially scraps of flowers. If you buy a bigger arrangement, have a container nearby so you don't have to throw away anything. So you can enjoy all this, and your neighbors can too if you get too many. I keep a lot on my kitchen counter. But look, that's 3 peppers and scraps of flowers. And if you have little people over, they'll be charmed to think they did this. Let's put that one there. Okay, we've got 3 minutes left. Want one more? Sure. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is your long-lasting holiday arrangement. You're going to do something, or I'm going to do something with this to suggest to you that you can make this last throughout the holiday. Now, where did I put the greens for that one? Beats me, so we'll use what we got. I think they're in here. Oh, yes, they are. Here they are. Okay. I went dog walking yesterday with this neighborhood dog, and I was on a looking trip. And you know there is civic duty. Everybody knows about civic duty. We clean up trees that are hanging in the wrong place and just make things look better. So these were civic duty branches. Let's see, there should be a match over there. So here's the match, and God in his wisdom makes most things match, and that's really good too. So I'm going to start with matching on here, give or take. This is actually a little long, but we can take care of that. And I got a few other things too. This one house just had not done their cleaning adequately, and these things were leaning over almost into the street. I didn't have to step much into the yard at all. My daughter, with whom I was with, her dog, said, Mom. And then she got into it and she said, I think you can get that branch, it's not a problem. Thank you. But anyway, you start with long-lasting greens, things that are going to get you through a while because they're used to being hardy and not being taken care of. And you create a base on this, a variety of things that will last. They can be anything you got. Cuba is good. Tiny magnolia is really good. It lasts real well. And if you, in boxwood, oh my gosh, I can't rhapsodize enough about boxwood. You know that that's such a good winter product. So you make your base with whatever's going to last a while. And get your greens all in there. Wait a minute, a couple more here. So these are the basic greens. I've got a lot of fir in here. I was looking for blue spruce, but no one grew that close enough to the street. I saw It's terrible. I saw some pretty ones in yards, but couldn't do that. Didn't know the people at all. I have met people that way, though, of just mentioning if they could spare a branch. Now look at this. This is a variegated, I think it's Euonymus, I'm not sure. Who would remember anyway? It's a variegated, very pretty, last long green. So there you go. And in this, you notice how much light this adds to this arrangement, just by being variegated. So that's what we're doing, is adding a little light into this. Now, if I had a bunch of Pachysandra, which I might have somewhere, I wonder where I put it. Not sure I brought more of that. Ooh, I got something else pretty in here, though. Okay, a little more of this. We'll take care of those two places. All right. So I've got a base here, and I've got all kinds of things I could add to it to cover up a little more. But let's do these. Now, here's the thing that makes this so versatile, is that you can add anything seasonally that you want from this point on, and then change it out. A couple of days later, it's gotten tired, so you just take it out and put in the next flower that goes in that season. And that really, really, really is a great way to be able to do, because you do one basic arrangement and it will last much of times. 4 minutes, gotcha, sir. I'm on it. Racing now. Love the clock. Okay, I'm taking this gorgeous green hydrangea and cut it into pieces right here. And that will cover up a lot of stuff. Almost done. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to take some peachy roses, and I'm going to throw these in like so. You may have to use your living color imagination in just a minute. We're going to run out of time in about a minute. And you're going to imagine, and I fill this in with some berries. Maybe I'll have time to throw this in, we'll see. And a couple of other things just to fill in the hole. But what I want you to get the idea of is if you start with a good base for the holidays in your greens, then you've got something you can work with the entire time. All right, one more thing, Eddie, and then it's perfect. And I want to thank all of you who've attended Flower Power in half an hour, Flower Power in 32 minutes. Thanks so much. I had a wonderful time, please and thank you. And Eddie, you've been terrific as usual. Okay, gang. That's just about it. Now get a clock. A saint. So thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it, gang. Come again.